Alright, the first vlog of my new vlog series, and yes, I am going to try and stick with it this time. And it's going to be the first review of the 20th anniversary of the Heisei era and the last Heisei era Kamen Rider series, Kamen Rider Zio. And yeah, from even before the first episode, I can tell that this is going to be an uphill battle, in more ways than one. First and foremost, the writing staff of the show. We've got three major numbnuts in charge here. First off, being Japanese Dandidio slash Joe Quesada himself, Shinichiro Shirakura, the guy who's responsible for the absolutely abysmal Taisen movie series. And he was also responsible for, cutting Kamen Rider Ghost's budget in half to go and pump it into his little pet project Amazons, which first season was okay. Season 2 just started to go down the drain, and it just pointless, juvenile, grimdark nihilism. Joy. A blatant attempt to cash in on the Marvel Netflix series, obviously, with promoting Amazons on Amazon. Yo, dog. Oh, yeah. Second up is Naomi Takebe. I don't really know a whole lot about her, except that she's pretty much the one responsible for a lot of Toei shows recent, Kamen Rider and Sentai, Super Sentai, basically just becoming a lot more toyetic. And last but not least is the writer, Kento Shimoyama. He is the guy responsible for the Ninja, the worst received Sentai series to date. And the last time these three joined together, we got Kyoryuger Brave, which was, it's obviously a Korean knockoff of a much better show. Ugh. Yeah, we are going to be in for a major load here, especially considering Shirakura's, outright disastrous contempt for anything that he wasn't personally involved with. He says, and given Zio's premise of time traveling throughout the Heisei era, he's basically going to use this chance to no doubt play revisionist history and just do whatever he wants. Or at least that's what the cynical side of me is saying, but, well, for the first episode, it's kind of odd to see where it goes. Alright, first things first. We start off in the year 2086, and with our evil demon king Zio. And, well, it's basically Kamen Rider's version of Age of Apocalypse. He's Apocalypse, and he's made the entire world his plaything. And then we cut immediately to 2018, where we meet his potential past incarnation, Tokuwa. Sugo Tokuwa. And for some reason, he wants to be king. Why does he want to be king? Because it sounds cool? Okay, look, we've all had ourselves some crazy dreams when we were younger. I mean, hell, back when I was a kid, I always wanted to rule the world. But, sometimes history the world doesn't exactly go and play out, and you just gotta go and work with what you got, But he wants to be king, even though, well, there's no monarchy these days with any actual authority, just basically like England. They basically just they still have the royal family, but it's basically just for show. Or I could be wrong. I have no clue. I'm just, a dumb American. And yeah, he's coming on back from school, and then all of a sudden he suddenly sees on his bike seat a little device called a ride watch. And then all of a sudden, he's suddenly stalked by this giant robot that nobody notices. Oh, this is going to be like the Michael Bay Transformers movies, isn't it? Where somehow these giant robots are somehow covered up. I don't know, maybe, the robot has like some cloaking device or something like that, or I don't know. And yeah, he wants to be king because. And well, later on, a resistance fight. The one who's piloting the giant robot is a resistance fighter called Gates, Geiz, but it's pronounced Gates because, iconography, symbolism reference. Anyways, yeah, Gates is doing the smart thing and traveling back in time to find Sugo, who he knows will eventually become Zio and and kill him in order to prevent his future from coming to pass. Basic Terminator 101. But then, for some reason, this woman named Tsukiyomi shows up in her own time machine and abducts the dude, abducts Sugo, and tells him, don't become Zio without, taking away the ride watch. She knows that this guy is going to become the Demon King, the guy that is going to take the world, squish it and squash it and mangle it and call it George. And yet, she does nothing to stop him. If this were following any train of logic, she would be working with Gates to kill this delusional little twerp before he becomes Lucifer. I mean, am I missing something here? Yeah, but no, I guess she thinks that, well, I guess she's not sure if he will become the Demon King Zio, but she knows she will become Zio, I guess she figures that maybe she can, do some course correction with him, and have him still become a hero, a king that uses his power as a king should to protect those under his charge, and not just abuse the power like a maniac. I mean, she never says that, but I'm going to give this the benefit of a doubt here. And yeah, again, there's also been some controversy about Zio becoming the king of time, and that goes against the Kamen Rider edict about they sacrifice of themselves to protect those that can't fight. I'm thinking this is kind of a loose interpretation of that. How a true king uses his power to protect those in his domain. He wears the weight of the crown on him. He takes that responsibility, making sure the welfare and protection of his domain is his utmost priority. I mean, it's still self-sacrifice, it's just kind of a different way about it, instead of just like the lone hero who sacrifices of himself to ensure the protection of those around him. It's an interesting way to go about it. I mean, Kamen Rider has explored the whole, symbolism of kings being, carrying the weight of their crown around with them. Like Blade King form, for example. He sacrifices his humanity to ensure that the world isn't destroyed by the albino roaches as the result of the battle fight. And Kamen Rider Kiva, Wataru himself, he doesn't become the king of the Fangires, but tries to take that title for himself to ensure that his brother Taiga doesn't have to follow the edicts and ideologies of his father, the Bat Fangire. And let's not forget about O's, literally named ruler or king. The original O's created the core metals in order to solidify his power and try to take over the world, but Eiji perfectly demonstrates what I'm guessing Zio's trying to go for. He has the power of a king, but is selfless. He wants to ensure to use his power is only used for the greater good. Instead of might makes right, use might for right. Violence is not strength, compassion is not weakness. The whole Camelot thing. Again, I'm guessing this is what they're going to do with Zio, or what Sugo is trying to do. But as of right now, the future's not written, except for that one little part where he rules the world. Oh, and as if that wasn't enough, we gotta have monsters for Zio to fight. So, yeah, there's these guys called the... we never knew, and we haven't heard exactly what they're called yet, and anyways, there's this guy who is going around in time making sure, abducting people who are supposed to die at a certain point in time and giving them a choice. I mean, it's literally the same drafting process that Kyubey used to recruit Mommy to become a magical girl in Madoka. They're on death's door, they were supposed to die, but he says, I can make sure this all goes away if you just sign a little contract here and, become this thing. And of course, nobody wants to die prematurely, so they're like, yeah, okay, sign. And so he sticks this device called, an evil variant of the Ride Watch into this guy, and he becomes this evil aberration of Kamen Rider Build, called Another Build. Yeah, the monsters of this series are called Another Riders, and before you even say anything, yeah, Shirokura is still gonna have to go and work his tiny little gray matter in order to figure out how the another Agito is, the another rider version of Agito is going to work, since there is already another Agito. I mean, there literally is a writer called Another Agito for those who haven't seen the series, but and yeah, that's pretty much where they get the inspiration for the Another Riders in the show. And yeah, I kind of like the designs of another build and another Exade. And basically just twisted, monstrous aberrations representing absolutely nothing of the original writer. But, hey, they had build written on there and they kind of have a driver look at things, so hey, close enough. And I kind of can't help but think that Shirokura is taking his negative reputation with the fan base and is trying to turn it into some weird meta narrative. Like, yeah, no, see, this is what I would have done if I were in charge. Again, my result would just end up as a rote bastardization of well, what people love, and something that would have actually worked. Again, if that's the goal with Zo, if that's his goal with Zo here, then okay, that's kind of hilarious, actually. Anyways, back on point here. Yeah, Zio and Sukyo. No, wait. Sugo and Tsukiyomi, well, they got knocked out of the time loop by out of the time stream by Gates after coming back from the Cretaceous period. Or at least apparently that's the Cretaceous period. I couldn't really, well, I tried looking it up. It seems to fall within the ballpark there, but last I heard in the Cretaceous period, dinosaurs do not sound like mammoths. And they still have feathers. They got this right in Kyoryuger. What the crap, man? Anyways, he falls out of the time loop and somehow winds up in November 30th of last year, where the sky wall is, and he runs into Build and Cross Z. Hold on, no. Build is supposed to take place in an alternate timeline, so, I mean, I know at the end of Build series the timelines merged together, but it resulted in a world without the sky wall. The sky wall, that was the defining, the key factor that differentiates Build's world and the main Earth. So, oh yeah, I forgot. It's written by an idiot. Never mind. Anyways, yeah, he encounters the original Build, gets knocked out by Tsukiyomi, and and brought back to the present, where another Build is running around on a rampage. And well, yeah, Tsukiyomi tries to fight another Build, while pretty pathetically trying to convince Sugo, no, don't become a king. Yeah, I mean, she's already shown him what the Demon King Zo is going to do, and yet he's like, no, I'm gonna be the king. And but he says he's not going to abuse his power. He's going to use it to protect the world, while still calling himself a Demon King. Dude, last I checked, people aren't actually going to side with anyone who literally proclaims himself as a demon king. It's kind of, contradictory and kind of nuts. Oh, and then but as if the gods of contrivance have spoken, one of Zio's, future Zio's, zealots from the future, let's see, what was his name again? Ozma or something like that. Anyways, the creepy prophet guy, I'm gonna call him. Anyways, creepy prophet guy shows up and says, "Yea, I proclaim that the Lord Demon King Zio is born," and gives Sugo, this oblivious idiot who only wants to be the king with a childish, naive mindset, the driver, and he becomes Zio and then proceeds to defeat another Build. And yeah, although I really like Zio's design here. Yeah, as you can tell with the face on screen here, it doesn't really do the whole body justice, but yeah, it's modeled after a watch, a giant Rolex basically, and the minute and second hands on the clock face of the visor here are pointed at the 10 minutes after 10 spot, denoting that he's number 20. He's the 20th Kamen Rider, and I'm guessing it's also another joke about people who are obsessed with the whole counting gag thing that started after Double. And yeah, the kanji for on the visors there reflect what form they're using. Right now it's Z-O. And yeah, it looks Zio's another good design for a rider, and he gets his own giant robot. Well, okay, not exactly giant, but kind of more like the power loader from Aliens. And um, he manages to get that bitch away from Tsukiyomi and manages to destroy it. But Gates, following an actual train of logic here, thinks that Tsukiyomi's full of crap and thinks that this guy, who is already turned into Zio, will eventually go insane with power and become the future Zio. There's literally a statue of Sugo in the future, commemorating his first henshin. There is very little doubt here as of right now. The way the future is now, Zugo will become the evil demon king Zio. So Gates transforms into Kamen Rider Gates, and then he actually has his own variant Rider Watch. For Kamen Rider, he has the Ghost Ride Watch, which he uses to assume his form, and then sends out some Parker Ghosts to attack Zio, and thus canning the episode for now. And yeah, next episode, we're not going to be only going to be having Sento and Banjo back as Cross Z and Build, but they're also going to be teaming up to go and fight against another Xaid. So yeah, first episode, I've seen a lot worse. The pacing is really just not good. It goes way too fast, very little time for characterization, just fights, plot points, plot points. And yeah, this guy, Shimoyama is not very good with characterization, especially with going this fast at a pace. And I get the feeling that Sugo's whole "I'm going to be the king" thing is going to be his main annoying catchphrase. But yeah, just like apparently like with Kyoryuger Brave, he's nowhere near as annoying as Leftovers, Dumb Luck, or Wrong. But again, time will tell. Time will tell whether this series is good or not. So yeah, on to our next topic of discussion. Yep, thank you, piss off. Lupinranger versus Patranger, episode 30. And let's see, we start off with Keiichiro actually deciding to go and take a chill pill and go on a little vacation. It's the end of summer, he's been working nonstop, so he gets himself a leave of absence to take a day off and go to an onsen. But when Noelle shows up and is like, "Hey, mon ami, what's going on?" Everyone was like, "No, nothing's wrong here, just pot on." And yeah, Noelle's like, no, you're hiding something from me. So he asked Kyrie, Lupin Red here, to go and, just basically follow him, since he figures that trailing after Keijiro would be a little bit suspicious. So the two actually get to have some bonding time and actually just hang out. And there was an incident with a lost girl where they both decide to help her, but Keijiro, actually is letting his more positive traits shine here, is definitely gung ho on helping the little girl, and finds a strawberry hair clip that she lost, which kind of is triggering some bad flashbacks for Kyrie, since when he was a little kid, an incident happened with his older brother that basically the same thing happened here. He stopped by to help a little girl, and Kyrie was he was a jealous little kid, so yeah, his only family is paying attention to someone other than him, so he just couldn't bring himself to admit that he wanted to help this girl. But his older brother did it first, and just felt jealous that his attention was getting drawn away from him. Okay, this is interesting here. Keiichiro has been a constant problem with the show. I mean, yeah, from episode 1, the guy has been a hot-headed, impulsive jackass who is basically the one reason why the Lupin Rangers and the Patrangers can't get together and actually collaborate, since the guy has a very black and white mindset that they're a thief, they're criminals, so they're always inherently evil. Not realizing that, people do criminal activities for various reasons, not because they're evil and want to hurt people, you zealotous goon. But yeah, he doesn't know that Kyrie is Lupin Red and just sees him as, a civilian friend. Someone who runs the local bistro that he and his friends hang out at. Yeah, but Kyrie knows who he is, and, well, can't help but draw parallels between Keiichiro and his dead brother. So it's mortal, well, he doesn't want to admit that the two are similar, but it's kind of there. And yeah, let's get to the actual reason why Keiichiro is actually taking this time off. Yeah, due to a tip-off from a previous episode about a bunch of a black market art dealing operation, they learned that there were a bunch of art thieves that were selling black market artifacts and beating just killing their clients, stealing their money, and keeping the valuables for themselves. And one of those pieces happens to be a Versus vehicle, a Lupin collection piece, the fire truck and trigger machine. Splash, it's called. But Keiichiro and the rest of the Patrangers figure, well, that since Noel seems to favor working with the Lupin Rangers more often than they do, and that he has been seen collaborating and giving them collection pieces before, they still suspect that it's obvious that the guy's a double agent, so they're just trying to get this collection piece and add it to their arsenal behind the guy's back. And I mean, I would say that's kind of dickish, but that's not exactly wrong to assume, since Noel does have his own agenda, and the Patrangers' agenda is stopping the Ganglars, even if it means destroying the collection pieces that they carry in their safes. Which, with Noel around, thankfully reduces the chances of them, accidentally destroying a collection piece. But still, with a guy that's willing to give equipment to one of their enemy factions, it's, it is kind of smart to go behind the guy's back, and I mean, he's gone behind their back several times, so hey, even Stevens. So yeah, Keiichiro manages to get the trigger machine, but of course Kyrie being Kyrie follows him, and the two get into a struggle. And that's where the Ganglar plot comes in today. The Ganglar today is a skunk monster named Kunks. It's skunk spelled backwards. It's Ekans, snake. It's spelled backwards, yeah. Anyways, Kunks has been going around town not actually attacking people, but he's been leaving large traces of methane gas, I guess, since around town, so that whenever the Lupin Rangers or the Patrangers find them and they start with the bang bang shoot, they just get a big explosion in their face. So yeah, he's been leaving behind large pockets of methane gas around the town, but it's in open areas. You know what gas does in open areas? It disperses. There's not enough. I mean, I don't know anything about methane gases or anything combustible like that, but you know what happened? There's literal, it's the quite literal definition of the phrase "a fart in the wind." Just, a fart in the wind, it's nothing. It disperses amongst all the rest of the gas in the atmosphere. This would work if he was seen infiltrating office buildings or stuff like that. Going into buildings, attacking people, and leaving these large trace amounts of gas. And if he was attacking an oil refinery or something like that, or an office building. They find him there, and then kerblamo! Thousands of deaths, thousands of people in danger, and yeah, this guy could cause some major damage. But they haven't been able to track him down, well, because the guy's a skunk. So naturally, he secretes his natural defensive gases. But you see, there's a reason why they haven't had a skunk monster in Sentai since Bada Skunk all the way back in Old Ranger. It's not they give it an easy excuse for fart jokes. I mean, they don't say that it's coming from his butt, or he's got like little gas nozzles on the ends of his fingers here to exude the gas. But yeah, the reason why he was able to go on detective without people complaining about attacking him is because he's got himself a collection piece that disguises his scent. I think it's a bouquet of flowers that I'm not sure what it was appropriated from, but yeah, it's there. So they managed to get the collection piece away from him, and it turns out to be a trap. Yeah, once they get the piece out of him, his gas comes out, and their eyes are watering, and they just can't breathe. And yeah, Gosh actually takes the initiative and doesn't wait for him to be destroyed, and actually has him grow to unleash attacks on the city, and thus causing his pockets of gas around the town to explode, causing mass destruction everywhere. But again, this methane gas is dispensed in the wide open. So, I mean, unless he exudes I don't know how much gas he would have to produce in order to cause that many explosions, but I mean, it had to have been very, very recent in order for this to actually work. But I'm guessing he did take my advice and sneak inside some abandoned buildings or something like that, or some places where people couldn't see him, because there are lots of buildings exploding, most likely lots and lots of deaths. So, oh yeah, back with Patranger Ichigo and Lupin Red. The two are fighting. Keiichiro gets the call about Kunks growing large and causing mass destruction, and actually, and a good sign of development for him, actually says, well, actually, yeah, during the fight, Kairi managed to steal the fire engine trigger machine, and tells Kairi that take it, get to where the Ganglar is. Yeah, your jet's faster than my car, so just get going, save the people. Yeah, he is actually looking at the bigger picture here, and admits that that if he did it on his own, it would be way too late. He actually asks, well, not really asks, but admits that the Lupin Rangers are the better guys for the job. I mean, sure, the show has been dumping on the Patrangers since day one. I've done that a couple of times. I'm basically just pointing out that there is literally no reason for them to exist in the show. I mean, yeah, Noel admits earlier that the Patrangers only existed because somehow their collection pieces got out of his possession and into the hands of them. Yeah, that was still leaning with my personal theory that someone higher up in the global police in the global police's higher ranks is a gangler, and is using the Patrangers as his unknowing pawns, to, well, basically distract the Patrangers, distract the Lupin Rangers, sorry, and hopefully both groups take out all of his rivals in order to earn the Don's favor. So yeah, basically once the Patranger job is done and the rest of the competition's gone, he'll come in there, take back the collection pieces, and then, well, with the Patrangers discharged, the Lupin Rangers will just be easy pickings. The world will be his, and he'll become the new Don of the Ganglars. That's basically my theory. I mean, it's a good one. It honestly makes sense, but we'll just see how things play out. I mean, and, it explains how some of the collection pieces have actually gotten to the Patrangers, not just their initial ones, but the helicopter and the motorcycle ones. The ones that were being sent over from their France HQ. Yeah, if a Ganglar was infiltrated the global police higher ranks, then it would easily explain how he was able to get his hands on them. Or it could just be something else. I don't know. Anyways, back on point. They form the Lupin Rangers form their mech, manage to defeat Kunks, and then the whole thing is resolved. And yeah, that seems to be about it as far as I can remember. All right, yeah, so Keiichiro finally goes and swallows some humble pie. I hope it was tasty. Okay, no, actually, it's bitter, but the best medicine is often bitter, dude. So, and yeah, Kyrie is starting to develop some respect towards Keiichiro, and is actually it's another point to building some bridges between the two groups, which is Noel's overall goal. Since if the two groups consolidate their forces and focus on the Ganglar, then they'll be able to recover all the pieces of the Lupin collection and get their wish. All right, so this has been the first of my Tokusatsu vlogs. So, all right, well, let's just see how this goes, and I'll definitely be back next week for ZO episode 2 and Lupinranger versus Patranger episode 31. See you when I see you.